Well, I've said a lot in public. I've presented a sketch that has got some players in the game, and I want the South Africans not to forget that sketch, that there are players everywhere.
18 June 2026, we witnessed one of the biggest dramas that have been displayed in our screens. And one of the biggest questions that a lot of South Africans were asking themselves is what changed the IDAC's mind after they had a warrant of arrest against Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo and Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. These are the questions that have engulfed the minds of many people that have seen that drama unfolding. In this video, we'll look at 4 theories that have been emerging from the public as to what might be the reason for this change or the turn of mind. But the question that I want you to always have at the back of your mind while you're watching this video is, was this warrant of arrest fake, or this warrant of arrest is actually delayed?
Tell you, we're not going to sleep. Well, we presented before both the commission and the committee that if nothing drastic is done, there's going to be blood on the street. And I do hope that our executive authorities are going to do something big about this.
So when the news broke on the 18th of June that actually Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo is arrested, especially the ENC is the one that broke the news, there was a lot of panic and standstill in our society, and people were asking themselves, what is it this time? Because we know that Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo was arrested before by the very same IDAC because of a labor-related matter. So people had some panic that was going on, and there was a lot of questions as to why. We then got a clarity from Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's mini brief when he went outside to explain what is actually going on, as well as the legal representative of Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, as well as Nosipho Madondo, who was also the person that was supposed to be arrested with Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo. And from the explanation that we are getting is that Dumisani Khumalo received a call that he should hand himself at the police station and he should bring a bag that that has the clothes for him to change. And just by virtue of those words, he knew that he was going to be charged and arrested. And he had his co-accused, which is Nosipho Madondo. And they went there to the police station to present themselves. And you might ask yourself, how does Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi chip in? How is he involved in all of this? Because it was Dumisani Khumalo who was called. So Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi comes into the picture because he says that the day prior, there was rumors that they are planning to arrest IDAC officials. And IDAC also is planning to arrest them. And there's a warrant of arrest that has been issued that in the next 48 hours, they have to be arrested. So Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi thought, and after he heard that Dumisani Khumalo is arrested, he said, okay, you know what, which means it's the time I am also going to present myself, because clearly I'm also going to be arrested. And that's how he proceeded and went to the police station with Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo and Nosipho Madondo joining them.
Well, I wanted to see for myself what was unfolding here today. Simply because yesterday we received intelligence that IDAC has given itself 48 hours to bring myself and General Khumalo to the cells. Well, I did not believe that intelligence when it came, and I've got it on record. And today when General Khumalo called me that looks like that what we received yesterday is really happening, because he has received a call. So I thought, no, okay, let me come here and see if I can see it myself, the phone call that he's talking about, because he was not with me. And I thought if indeed it's true, that means perhaps they might also be looking for me, so I might as well be close by to make it easy.
But that's the thing. When they arrived there, a really bizarre, worrying thing happened. There was no warrant of arrest. That's what they were told. But that's the thing. They were told that there's a warrant of arrest, and there's even call logs that show that a call went through. But now the entire story is changing. So you might ask yourself, what happened? Even Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi himself doesn't understand. The legal representatives don't understand. However, because there is you and me on the ground, we have made our own theories. And in this video, I wanted us to discuss these 4 theories that might be the probable reason why the IDAC changed its mind. And it's going to shock you, and it's very interesting for me to actually share these 4 theories. Actually, I'm excited. I don't know about you. So let us first start with the first theory. The first theory is the one of me and you. Maybe we are in the streets, we're pointing each other like this. We both have weapons and we are pointing at each other like this. And one of us has the thing of, I want to shoot first, because if I can pull the trigger first, she's going to fall and she won't have to attack me. Okay? So that is the first theory. So here the IDAC was seemingly afraid that they were being investigated by the PKTT crime intelligence and they were about to arrest them. And Information that went out is that they were going to arrest senior officials, meaning Andrea Johnson, who's the head of the IDAC, is the one that might have been arrested. And from Lieutenant General's and from the Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's perspective is that that is not true. That did not even happen. They did not give, they are not even investigating IDAC, and there is no warrant of arrest against IDAC officials.
We wanted to wait and see what's happening because the intelligence says there was a panic within IDAC that there are warrant of arrest that have been secured against the leadership of IDAC, which is not true. I first heard about this thing earlier in the week. A friend of mine from Durban called me, and I said, but there's nothing like that. I did not take it serious. It looks like the information that we get yesterday confirms that you guys have got a warrant of arrest for IDAC officials. And we said, but that's not true. We don't issue warrant of arrest. We work with prosecutors and lawyers if there's anything. But there's nothing. There's nothing that we are investigating that involves them.
What do you think this is in relation to, General?
I still don't know. Because that's why I didn't take it serious yesterday when this information about warrant of arrest, I thought, well, maybe is this just a story. But when Khumalo said he received a call from IDAC today and I asked him, what are these charges for now? He said, no, he's supposed to come here. So I decided to come here so that I can meet up with Khumalo and get to see for myself the numbers that called him. And because he said it's a gentleman that he didn't know. But when a second call, as a lawyer is saying, it came from the head of investigation there. Mr. Perumal, and to say that they must not come, both General Madondo and Khumalo. I said, but they can get phone calls to come to the police station. An hour late, they get phone calls not to come because of some intervention from some senior people somewhere. It's quite interesting. The question is this how justice is served?
So it seems like there was some panic that was taking place from the IDAC. They were like, you're going to act first and fast before these people actually start acting, which is to give effect to this warrant of arrest. And to tell you the truth, it makes sense why the IDAC will panic, because ever since we have seen from the Nhlanhla Commission, the PKTT is not here to play. They are arresting people left, right, and center. So when you hear that the PKTT is about to arrest you, you can't take that for granted. It must be very, very serious. And you must take it very serious. So I think there was some panic that was taking place right there with the IDAC. So people are saying that is why IDAC went and arrested Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi first before they were going to be arrested by the team of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and Dumisani Khumalo. Then the second theory is the one that involves Fadiel Adams and Vusumuzi Nhlanhla. So Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, through his exclusive with the ENCA, he revealed that the reason why also he might have been arrested is because they have been arresting people like Vusumuzi Nhlanhla and Fadiel Adams.
Well, we arrested Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams was arrested. You don't know what happened, how IDAC responded to that. We took Mr. Nhlanhla to prison. I'm sure everyone knows. A year later, IDAC went to prison to charge him without talking to us. He's sitting in custody because of the police, but IDAC is owning him. So that's a very interesting development that everyone is watching. And we end up in conflict as a legal structure, unnecessary.
So I want to first start with Vusumuzi Nhlanhla, right? So with the Vusumuzi Nhlanhla, he explained it very beautifully with Newsroom Africa's exclusive. He said that Vusumuzi Nhlanhla, ever since he was nabbed by the PKTT, because we know that the people that arrested Vusumuzi Nhlanhla are the PKTT officials. Ever since they nabbed him and arrested him, IDAC has been so heavily involved in that particular arrest. And what makes it worse is that IDAC knew a long time ago regarding Vusumuzi Nhlanhla's shenanigans, but they never did anything. They started charging Vusumuzi Nhlanhla when the PKTT already arrested him in connection to Tebogo Tobechan. The reasons are not clear as to why they didn't take any actions before, but they started taking actions. And what is worse is that they hijacked the whole entire case and investigation. They started taking the cell phones of Nhlanhla. There was even allegations that the cell phones were tampered with. Even this lady of the IDAC agreed that there was tampering of the assets. They just hijacked the entire investigation.
Said, and before receiving the phones for that download purpose period that you mentioned, you stated that you already had concerns that it would have been tampered with, which subsequently your cyber experts indeed observed that there was data that was deleted, and a lot of it. Was it deletion timestamped to the period that the phones were in the custody of the PKTT?
Honourable Chair and members, we await a formal report from the cyber expert. And one is unable to give you that time frame now. It's part of the investigation. Safe to say, at the time of the download for IDAC, the cyber expert was able to say at that very time that data had been deleted.
That's what Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi told us. The second part that he told us, which is very important for us to speak about, is the issue of the IDAC giving this man free time and actually taking him out of the prison. They're saying that Nhlanhla is always outside in the guise of we are consulting. You remember the IDAC? They were at the forefront of ensuring that Nhlanhla does not get locked up at Ebongweni. They fought that up until Nhlanhla is now with Khoshimampuru. And their excuse was, we want to consult with him in preparation for the trial. And then we heard those rumors of a plea deal and everything else. So that is why the IDAC now wants Nhlanhla to actually be around. But what shocks is the fact that he's always out in the guise of, I'm consulting.
Just to that distance of phoning the investigating officer and say, we are here to execute a warrant for this person of yours. Can we have some working arrangement? You want this person to be in Kokstad, we want this person to be in Pretoria. That discussion should have happened in a boardroom. It did not happen. The ugly part of it is that there was even a letter from IDAC threatening the Commissioner of Correctional Service about why is Nhlanhla sent to Kokstad from IDAC, as if he was presented, he arrived at Correctional Service, or he went to Kokstad because of the decision of DCS alone. So it became clear there that there's some malicious things. We know that Nhlanhla is forever out of prison because of consultation that they're busy with. We know that we've got our intelligence that are collating information of what's happening. So we feel that there's now games that have been played. The man is in custody and he's got a number of cases. IDAC has put a case against him. He must answer to that. But the descents of the security class are talking to each other. They said the very same person that we've arrested, we are looking for him on this case. We want to charge him. For these reasons, for him to be in court, we want to make sure that he stays in Pretoria. That discussion will have happened. So I can imagine now if SAPS charges Nhlanhla now for something else, and they go to court and they demand that he be kept in another correctional facility without talking to IDAC, there's going to be another fight again, which is unnecessary.
Even Darlene James, if you guys remember, the testimony of Nhlanhla expressed this, that Nhlanhla is always out consulting for hours with the lawyers and the wife. You don't even know if they're still even in the prison facilities. For what me and you might think is that he might even go out, have coffee, be in a hotel with the wife, and the IDAC knows of that and does not even have a problem with that particular setup. So that is another thing that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi pointed to.
I put it to you, as my colleagues have said, you are not merely a business. You are in fact a criminal involved in the destruction of our communities, in the destruction of our children. I also put it to you that you tried to avoid appearing before this committee. I also went and I got the records of your consultation with your lawyers. You were actually privileged to have been with them almost every day. You received visits, hours of consultation from 12 o'clock until 5 o'clock. Yet your lawyers wrote this committee a letter saying that you weren't given ample time and you weren't given privacy. In fact, you actually have your family. I'm not sure if your wife is your legal consultant, part of the team. You have your wife here every day with you in the consultation room.
Then we have Fadiel Adams. The very Fadiel Adams who was arrested because he was busy trying to investigate Dumisani Khumalo, because according to him, Dumisani Khumalo and Fanima will have to be locked up in jail. That's what he wants, and he wants them to be suspended. So he's busy investigating, going to Siniso Magaka, even interfering in the investigations of the subs. He was arrested, and then you know what happened when he came out? He said the gloves are off. This is a guy that has been at the forefront trying to destroy these generals.
I'm going to take 2 days off and then the gloves come off.
So we know that both of these individuals are close to who? Are close to the IDAC. Was the IDAC their way of retaliating because of this arrest? The gloves are off. Is this the gloves are off that we heard from Fadiel Adams? That is another second theory. Then we have this crazy third theory. This one is the one that involves the IDAC leader and the relationship that she has with General Khan. So Andrea Johnson, when she was still an advocate in the NPA, was invited in an event where General Khan was a speaker, and he had to address the generals. So this is something that a former general said in Newsroom Africa. So what he says is that even in that event, it was so odd that Andrea Johnson was actually there, because the event was about generals and crime intelligence. It had nothing to do with her as an NPA official. This gets to show you the connection between Khan and Andrea Johnson, that these two individuals have somewhat a deeper connection that dates back to years of 2017, 2018.
Look at the relationship between even the head of IDAC and General Khan. Khan stood in as chair of that conference. It was sometime in 2017 or 18, I'm not quite sure. He stood in as chair for that conference for the then Deputy National Commissioner responsible for crime detection, who's late now. And in that meeting that was supposed to be a detective agenda-driven, our normal national meeting, she was introduced, and from the front chair's position as an advocate from the NPA involved with organized crime matters.
Okay.
So yeah, it was clear. We all observed there were detectives back then. We got a bit disturbed by some of her comments at the time, but that is a matter that I think needs further ventilation in the right space.
And you might think, Ahmad, they just know each other. It's not that deep. It is that deep. That's one thing about the subs and everything that has been revealed recently. But just because people invite each other on events, know each other, you must not take it as shallow that, they're all in justice. The other one is just an NPA member, an advocate. The other one is a subs member. It's not a coincidence, guys, I'm telling you. These two individuals know each other. Even this former general said something really worrying. Even said the things that Andrea Johnson said in that particular event, they left them in awe and worried. And to this day, they wish that that particular relationship can be probed and investigated. You might think, you're just, okay, then what should we do with this? How is this connected to everything? Guys, General Khan was recently arrested, and there was a raid in his house. His assets and his gadgets were taken. You know what he did after the gadgets were taken? I know you remember. He went to the High Court, and after the High Court, he got an order that because the matter is being struck off the roll because your gadgets are there with the Nhlanhla Commission. He then went and started probing Nhlanhla Commission. And you know what the Nhlanhla Commission said? Said, okay, I'm going to release everything to the public. That is when we saw that explosive affidavit that implicates Mohammed Sayed, illicit cigarettes, Julius Malema. All these people, Fani, Imogen Mashazi, VPS, all those things were revealed to the public because he was challenging Nhlanhla Commission, saying, bring back my gadgets. There's information there that might end up, there's people that might end up being unalived because of the information that is there. And from all of that, are you telling me that that man will just sit down, fold hands, and wait for the 1st of July for him to testify at the Nhlanhla Commission? Obviously, he started unlocking, using their powers. Busy twisting and turning. And I assume that he twisted and turned the IDAC. He spoke to his friend, who's the head of the IDAC, and said, these ones must pay. They can't just be arresting us.
Does this amplify what you said at the Nhlanhla Commission, that IDAC has been weaponized and targeting certain police officials in the service as well?
We are facing a war. That's all I can say. We are facing a war. And there are many players in this game.
Left, right, and center until we just sit down and do nothing about it. So that is when the third theory comes in, that there's actually that issue of the friendship between the two. But here is another interesting aspect. That is the 30th of June. Ziana revealed that Mkhwanazi and Khumalo, they actually the master planners of the 30th of June, meaning on the side of the police. We know that the 30th of June is a deadline for illegal immigrants to leave South Africa.
What I've heard is, firstly, there was an intervention either from the President's office or the acting police minister's office, but in particular because Khumalo is intricately involved in the planning, and you've also intimated that ahead of the 30th of June. So what happens then once the 30th of June comes to pass and we find ourselves back in this situation again?
Ms. Ngoba, I want to challenge you to get the two gentlemen, and one of them is Mr. Peruma from IDAC, to tell you why did they call them to come here, and an hour later, why did they tell them not to come anymore? They must answer that question. Because if the reason of not coming anymore was to allow them to first manage the 30th of June, it means after the 30th of June, only then they would administer justice. This is not how the justice is supposed to be administered.
And that is not an issue of KZN, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape, Northwest, whatever that it may be, or Western Cape. That is an issue of the entire South Africa, meaning there might be protests that are erupting the whole of South Africa that day to address this issue of illegal immigration. So they have to have a plan with regards to that. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, Dumisani, Khumalo, they actually planned that particular situation to ensure that there's no like unrest or chaos, just like what happened with the July unrest. Because Vele, if this process is not managed well, we know that there's March and March that wants good, but there's those ones that are planning to destroy this whole thing so that they can paint March and March as this organization that wants to cause disruption. So there is those rogue units that are already forming to cause disruption. So if the police are there, they can hinder those rogue units. So there is Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and Dumisani Khumalo planning that. We know of that 5-pillar methodology that Dumisani Khumalo is using for the PKTT and his investigation. So he specialized in planning this type of things. He knows what to do. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi comes with this July unrest experience. So they have a fully fleshed plan. The 30th of June is around the corner. It's coming within a few days. Imagine arresting those people that are there in the forefront, in front of Pamgaband, planning. You are arresting them. What do you mean? You are literally destroying the entire thing. And that is what our dear president doesn't want. Hence, people believe that the President Cyril Ramaphosa actually gave an instruction, gave a firm instruction that they should not arrest Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and Dumisani Khumalo right now. Hence, we believe that this warrant of arrest is not like it didn't exist. It is just delayed.
Either from the presidency or the acting police minister's office. Of course, even if the acting police minister gave that instruction, I doubt he would have done that without the president and the union buildings being fully aware of that. And part of the reason why we're told this had to be averted is because Khumalo is intricately involved in the planning of the June 30th deadline that's been set by anti-illegal immigration groups.
It's not like it's just a fake one, but it looks like there is some kind of delay. But wait, this story just took an even crazier legal turn. IDAC has now reportedly confirmed that a warrant exists, but they are intentionally delaying it until after the 30th of June protest, which means the other theory, one of the theories that we've had, they are actually correct, because I recorded the other parts before they actually released the communication. But now I'm adding this new element.
Like I just said, nobody ordered the stay. It is very clear. IDAC made a decision to ask them to come to Brooklyn Police Station. When that was done, then they got information that they are involved in other matters that relate to JCPS, which we are party to, and then they decided on their own to stay it until this matter is finalized after the 30th of June.
Ladies and gentlemen, under Section 43 of the Criminal Procedure Act, a warrant of arrest is a direct command from a judge or a magistrate to arrest a suspect immediately. Can I emphasize that word? Immediately. It is not a political tool. It is not something a state agency can keep in its back pockets to deploy whenever the political weather clears up. By admitting they are delaying the arrest so General Khumalo can handle the 30th of June protest, IDAC may have just handed the general the perfect legal weapon to defeat them. Think about it. The legal requirement for an arrest warrant is that the suspect is either a flight risk or immediate detention is necessary for the investigation. If IDAC is perfectly fine leaving these generals out in the street, managing massive national security operation until July, then the legal justification for an urgent arrest completely evaporates. Lawyers are already pointing out that the general can march straight into the High Court on an urgent basis to make this delayed warrant thrown out entirely. They can argue that this isn't just a criminal justice. This is tactical intimidation, which violates Section 12 of our Constitution. The state wanted a delay, but the delay might be the exact loophole the general may use to strike back. Already the legal representatives of Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo was complaining that them going to the police station already makes them to incur some financial losses, which then there is a possibility of also a civil claim, meaning that Dumisani Khumalo can lodge an urgent application in the High Court staying this particular warrant of arrest, either temporarily because it's an embarrassment to his persona, and people are asking themselves already a lot of questions, especially since the fact that the IDAC came and said there's no warrant of arrest, and today they are coming to say a different story.
The NPA's IDAC takes note of the media reports on the alleged arrest of the head of crime intelligence, General Dumisani Khumalo. We wish to indicate that these reports are untrue, as no such arrest has been effected by IDAC.
What were they trying to hide to begin with? This is the story they could have told us from the beginning instead of allowing the people to make their own speculations. So now, Khumalo even has that particular option. There's a case of Landmark Standerton versus the Attorney General case, which speaks about the permanent stay of prosecution, which is what they can use actually, because the state is causing severe pre-trial prejudice, the material anxiety, the damage of their professional commands in crime intelligence and subs, the public trial by media, while the warrant just hangs over, constitutes psychological and systematic prejudice caused entirely by the state's calculated delay. So they've just botched the entire case. Keza Kganyago was asked as to did they act prematurely, and they say that they're starting now to push the blame, and they're blaming Dumisani Khumalo to say, actually the person that has to be blamed is Dumisani Khumalo, because Dumisani Khumalo is the one that actually was supposed, according to them, would have not went to the police station because he was told that he must not go to the police station.
No, it was not premature. They got to get the information after they had already informed the said people. But also, again, going back to the statement, you'll see, we are also saying there that they were communicated to before they could even go to the Brook Lane police station. But they went anyway. But the fact of the matter is they were told not to go there even before they went back, because after that information was gathered and then a decision was made to stay this. Therefore, there was no need for them to go to the police station anymore because they were told prior to them going to the police station.
But there's no proof that he was told that, because the proof that is there is that he was called for him to hand himself over to the police. So they're facing both an interdict as well as a civil claim of those legal costs that they've incurred on the day when they went to that particular police station.
What happens now, I would have to make contact with IDAC to find out exactly what happened. It's embarrassing for my clients to be put at great expense, to have an attorney instructed to attend the police station with them at the request of IDAC, only for IDAC not to pitch at the police station.
Because they then now release a statement to dispel everything that's happening, which is quite odd.
My clients have been embarrassed in the media for quite some time at the expense of IDAC. Both my clients are also appearing at the Pretoria Magistrates Court relating to other charges. I'm not on record on that matter. My colleagues are representing both my clients on that matter, but it is embarrassing that my clients continuously get to incur legal.
They are the ones that have caused this particular chaos. And I still maintain that Andre Johnson was told by the president himself or the Minister of Police or the National Commissioner about the involvement of Dumisani Khumalo. According to them, they wanted to give effect to this arrest despite the fact that he's planning the 30th of June. Up until the president said that, that ain't gonna happen. This gets to show you how deep these factional fights are, and what is, I don't know, it's animosities that are happening in the IDAC, the subs, IP, NPA. There's just a lot happening. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi warned us about them. We know about them. There's nothing new. There's nothing surprising about these allegations of these institutions being in lockerheads.
Perhaps I must indicate to the Commissioner that what led us to able to come through all this, what has transpired, is in two phases. One is information I get through my sources within IDAC that there is activities that are happening with IDAC that are not in line with what the purpose of the formation of the entity is. And that there are two structures within IDAC. There's a good structure that deals with the Zondo Commission, and there's another structure that is malicious, that is used as a weapon to further disrupt the criminal justice system operations. So I get that through my sources within IDAC.
We continue with the work that we're doing as a police. The only unfortunate part, actions of this nature are the ones that are going to distract the team. The team was distracted last year when they were arrested. They were released, and even the court found that the bail condition that was imposed on them was not realistic bail condition. So they went back to work. There's been success thus far, which is us saving the communities out there, and we continue doing our work. We're not going to stop. So we're not saying that we are immune from being investigated. If there are things we did wrong, by all means, but it has to be executed. So what is strange then today, which they are telling me, is that come and don't come is a timing issue. If you are administering justice, you've got a warrant of arrest to a person, arrest a person.
But what is so apparent from everybody is that these people are too much in denial. They are denying that they exist, that animosity. But all of us, we can see that it's really bad, guys. These people don't get along. Hence, I'm starting to believe what I wrote, what I played at the beginning of this video. There is going to be a lot of bloodshed.
As far as we are concerned as the NPA, we are not aware of that enmity that we are talking about. And maybe you will be better positioned to explain as the general, because we are not aware. And until we are aware, we cannot honestly come on any platform and say there is animosity between the two organizations.
But just listening to both sides as well, and just maybe watching how things are transpiring as well. I mean, are you saying as the NPA, you're not seeing anything wrong with this? You're not seeing any tension between these two entities whatsoever?
Yeah, there's a difference between saying a perceived tension, but enmity, and it's not something that we seeing enemies on both sides fighting each other. That's not something that we are aware of. Maybe there is, maybe there is not, but we are not aware of such kind of circumstance.
And there won't be any rest. Agulalwa. People are not going to sleep, just like Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi said. The public already know the plan of the IDAC, and we already know what they want to do. And Hatches is the man who want to distract the country during the time when Khan is giving the testimony. And they know that us as the public, we might act a certain way. And I think that after that 30th of June unrest, there's going to be another intense protest, because South Africans are tired of the IDAC. South Africans are tired of the corruption. I'm just hoping that for the sake of peace, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo is going to interdict this whole thing. We still have a couple of days before the 30th. Next week can still be the week where Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo actually challenges this particular warrant of arrest that is being stayed for no good reason. Because the 30th, guys, what's making it worse is that it's not a thing of the government. It's not the president that announced it. It's people, it's civil society. And they're still intimidated by that. To me, it really, really does not make sense. And you might ask yourself, why would they arrest them? What would be the charges? Let us first start with the theory that, no, they made a mistake. All of this, it's all a mistake, guys. I think the best way, if it is the mistake, but Andrea Johnson must go there at the Nhlanhla Commission and apologize to South Africans, because that behavior is not nice and it's uncalled for. However, if this indeed is true, what might be the charges? And it looks like from the rumors that have been making around, they are relating to the properties. You remember the crime intelligence properties that Fadiel Adams was talking about, that Paul O'Sullivan was talking about, Kola Bernard, all these people. There's been a lot of articles from News 24 regarding these properties and the fact that crime intelligence is overspending. They are doing some money laundering with these properties. And how is it that PKTT members are staying in these properties?
Same property, just before you answer, is this the same property that we heard from Mary Dahas, from Paul O'Sullivan, from Patricia Mashale, from Brown Mkhwanazi, Is this the same property that you now also raise?
I know of 2 properties, so I don't want to speak out of turn. It may be. There's another place called the Feroz Hotel, which they're probably going to shoot me for now because I don't know if it's classified, but it was unlawfully purchased. So, crime intelligence has no mandate to purchase property unless Parliament approves it. When that property was purchased, I was a member of this House. I don't remember receiving that memo. They had no right to purchase that property. That is the sole responsibility of the Department of Public Works.
Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi did explain this properly at the ad hoc committee that most of these people are misinformed. They don't have all the information regarding these properties.
He came here, Honorable Adams, and withdrew the statement that he had made against Khumalo when he said the riot in KZN happened as a result of Khumalo failure. He withdrew it. After withdrawing it, when he came here again on Tuesday, he withdrew that withdrawal. He said, no, it was Khumalo. I want to invite all the members to take the Human Rights Commission report.
That's my question.
I want to invite all of you to go and check at the PKTT deployment, the call-up instruction, the paperwork. Who was deployed? Where were they deployed? Where did they stay? So they can see where was Khumalo when the riot happened. That whole period, I said to you, General Chika was the one that was my assistant, was heading intelligence. He retired last year. So he was in charge of intelligence, was a major general. Khumalo only arrived at crime intelligence in 2022. So again, information that was fair to the honorable member, which he came here and he presented his facts. Oyster Box, honorable member. It's a very luxurious hotel in Durban.
I go there.
Very luxury hotel in Durban. And very expensive.
It's only lunch, guys.
There's no way that the police officers can stay there.
It looks like they might want to bring the charge that they didn't get approval from the Parliament, which is the police portfolio, and also the issue that PKTT members cannot stay in these properties, from what we've heard from Fadil Adams.
And in your view, do you think that IDAC should have acted in a verbal report of what was alleged to have been found at the doorstep?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Member. Although as I've indicated in my statement, I think I have only one paragraph talking to the case because the learned friends, they say when a matter is sub judice and you are involved, you're not allowed to talk too much. But then when it comes to my understanding, because dealing with classified information is one of my specialization fields, that was not the correct procedure. The correct procedure was for that document to be handed over to a vetted and security cleared person, and also to rely on, because it amounts to a hearsay, if in your statement you say, I got this information from a document that I found underneath the door.
So these are some of the things that, guys, are happening with this particular case of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and everybody else that is involved. But it cannot be complete without me hearing what you think. What do you think about these 4 theories that people have came with? Do you think there's even more other theories? And if you think there's more other theories, please do comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. Tell us, what are those theories that you think are the reason why Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi ended up being arrested and Dumisani Khumalo ended up in that police station about to be arrested, and everything just changed. It just changed. Nonetheless, guys, let me hear you. Let me hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends to tell your cousins to tell everybody that I am on YouTube. Otherwise, guys, I will see you on my next upload. Bye.
Details. The criminal justice system leg that is playing mainly the protection and this to make sure that the cartel's activities are sustained.
They've got someone inside.
Yes. So in most cases, the stakeholders from within the criminal justice system are playing that role to say, you do, and then I'll make sure that the docket comes to my office or to my person, and then nothing will happen. And then it's another part of working for the cartel.